everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Curvy Critic with Carla Renata. I am your host, Carla Renata. You can find me across all social media platforms at the Curvy Critic. I can really say at the Carla Renata. That's just so busted and wrong. But at the Curvy Critic across all social media platforms. If this is your first time joining me and you are on YouTube, please click the bell and notifications below so that you can get a notice to know when we go live and when we have a show and when we don't and that kind of thing. If you are on Facebook Live, hey y'all, I know there's some people that I probably know. And if you are on LinkedIn, welcome. This is my first time streaming live via LinkedIn. I have a wonderful show for you today. I have a special guest named Sujata J, who is the director of Definition Please, a film that I became aware of and when I hosted and moderated some panels at the Bentonville Film Festival. And I have some reviews of Mulan, Boy State, FATIMA, I Am Woman, and Phineas and Ferb, Candace Saves the Universe. But before we get into all of that, this weekend was really extremely difficult for your girl. I am a graduate of Howard University. And having said that, Howard University Bisons really take pride in their own. We've taken pride in Anthony Anderson, Taraji P. Henson, Felicia Rashad, Debbie Allen, Toni Morrison. The list goes on and on and on. But this weekend, we took a particular pride. Well, not this weekend. We took a particular pride in a young man who shattered box office records, who shattered stereotypes, and is my Bison brother, Chadwick Boseman. He passed away this weekend from stage 3 colon cancer. I wanted to give a small tribute to him. And please make a note that colon cancer is a silent killer. It's one of the quietest cancers you could possibly get diagnosed with. Please, if you've learned anything from his passing and his resilience of making 4 blockbuster movies with all kinds of physical demands and stressful demands in terms of doing media and all of that. And this young man was undergoing chemo and treatment for his colon cancer. Please, please, please get checked for that. I got checked for it. I'm a survivor of colon cancer, and so is my mom. So having said that, here is my small but mighty tribute to my Bison brother, Howard University graduate, and T'Challa in Black Panther, Chad Boseman.
There is no Black Panther without Denzel Washington.
That's right. Felicia Rashad and Denzel Washington had a hand in the talent that we knew as Chadwick Boseman. Tributes came in from all over the globe, from the Russo brothers to Kamala Harris, to his Avengers co-stars, to his co-star Angela Bassett from the Black Panther, and his director Ryan Coogler. We knew him as Jackie Robinson in 42, as the incomparable James Brown, as Thurgood Marshall, where he worked with legendary director Reginald Hudlin, and as Stormin' Norman in The Five Bloods with Spike Lee. But I knew him as a Howard University graduate. I interviewed him last for his film 21 Bridges, and it was my immense pleasure. Thank you, my brother. You shattered stereotypes, and you made us proud at Howard University. Wakanda forever.
So that's that. Wakanda forever. Rest in peace, Chad Boseman. My thoughts and my prayers and love and light go out to all of his family in South Carolina, his dear, sweet wife, all of his mentors, and anyone who ever attended the Mecca that saw hope and saw promise and saw light in the embodiment of Chad Boseman. I send that all to you. All right. Now, moving on to my special guest for today, Miss Sujata J. So like I said in the opening, I became a Sujata at the Bentonville Film Festival. She has a film called Definition Please. It encompasses so many different things, but instead of me going and yammering on and on and on about it, I want to introduce to you Miss Sujata J.
Hi, Carla.
How you doing? Can I hear you? Is your mic on?
Mic is on. Mic is on. Can you hear me? No, I did a mic check.
Girl, I can't hear you.
Okay, hold on. Let me do something.
Oh, you muted it. You muted your mic. You muted it. Oh no. You muted your mic. I can't hear you.
How about now? Yeah?
Where are you, my sister? No. Let's see. How can we help this? Nope. Make sure that you click your microphone. Click your microphone. Go back and select your mic. It's live streaming, y'all. We always gonna have issues. Hi, Michael B. We're waiting for Sujata to come on. We're having some sound technical issues. Hi, Brandon. Until we work this out, I'll just talk.
How is that?
I can't hear you. You can hear her?
No.
I can't hear her, though. That's not good.
Oh, wow.
Why can't I hear her?
Interesting. I can also come back on my iPad, maybe.
Where you at, girl?
Let me try. I'm
gonna hear you at all.
I'm gonna do this again.
Okay, so she kicked herself out and she's gonna come back because I can't hear a thing. Like, where is she? Let me make sure that I have the right microphone clicked so that we don't have issues when she comes back. That's not okay. That's what happened. All right. That should fix it when she comes back. All right, so she's gonna come back, and until she does, you can hear her. Well, she's gonna come back, and until she does, I'll just go ahead and talk about her movie. She's coming back on her iPad. Okay, so she'll come back, and we'll deal with Sujata when she comes back. That sucks, man. I'm so excited to talk to her. But anyway, technical difficulties, the joys of live streaming. What you gonna do? Okay, so let me just talk to you about her movie. It's called Definition Please. She wrote it. She directed it. She's starring in it. It's dealing. Here she comes. Here she comes. Yay.
Hi.
Yay. Hi, Sujata. I can hear you. Yay.
Oh, I'm sorry about that.
That's okay, Mama. I'm so happy to see you here. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
So much. I just want to say that was a lovely tribute. And I mean, he did so much for Black folks, number one, and Black folks have always led the way for other.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I met him twice. I met him once during the opening night of Marshall, where he played Thurgood Marshall. And then I didn't see him again. I didn't physically see him again until the premiere of Black Panther. And then I interviewed him for I think it might have been his last film that he did a junket for, 21 Bridges. I was hired by Shadow and Act to do that interview there. And it was fun. He said some really interesting things. But the thing that I was most struck by with him is the fact that he was going through chemo and filming 4 superhero movies back to back at the same time. And he was a person that did films that weren't stereotypical. He didn't play a Black man that was stereotypical. And I also just love the fact that I discovered, Denzel Washington and Phylicia Rashad paid for him to study at Oxford University, which was amazing. That's just a whole nother level. And that I feel like he was preordained to do the roles that he did. I feel like he was preordained to play Jackie Robinson, preordained to play James Brown, preordained to play Thurgood Marshall and preordained to, of course, play T'Challa. And I was really looking forward to seeing him in Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, which is coming up on Netflix, and he would be starring opposite Viola Davis. So,
yeah, I loved him in Da 5 Bloods too.
Oh, now what's really creepy about that is that he plays an apparition of himself in Da 5 Bloods. How prolific is that?
Yeah.
But he was really, really good in that. And I remember he went to Howard University and did the commencement speech, I think the same year that Black Panther came out, a couple of years ago. And one of the things that he said that struck me to my core is, like I was saying earlier, is that he never settled. So he said one of his first gigs was on this soap opera, a really popular network soap opera. And there were some things that he didn't quite resonate with because he felt like it was very stereotypical and not something that he necessarily wanted to do on screen. So the producers, obliged him and let him discuss with them how he wanted to move forward playing this role. And he said he was there for 3 days. And that third day, after he had that discussion, he felt like that was some of his best work on the show. The very next day, the producers called and said that they were going to go another way. They fired him.
No way.
They did. If you go to YouTube, you can see the video of him talking at the Howard University commencement that year and telling that story. And I share it with you because you're young in this industry. You're a young woman of color. And I'm sure that you have had a plethora of auditions where people have said some crazy stuff to you or wanted you to do some crazy stuff, even in writing and directing and producing Definition Please. I'm sure in the process of pitching it, there were some things that were crazy that were said to you. But I share that with you to encourage you to not give up, to stay true to who you are, which you do, and you did. And, each one teach one. So you're able to do this, and then you can just move, just like Issa Rae kind of moved it on over for you. You can move it on over for somebody else.
That's what I definitely plan to do. I'm just excited because I feel like a lot of people have reached out to me and said they're so inspired by what I did and getting the movie out there. And that's really the main goal, is to inspire the younger generations so they feel like they can tell their own stories, because everybody has a story to tell. And there's not just one Black story. There's not just one Latinx story. There's not just one Indian story. There's so many flavors of all of us. And I want to see all of those. So the main goal is sort of getting achieved in terms of inspiring others to shoot their own stuff and get it out there and not wait for someone else to say yes.
Absolutely. You can't wait for somebody. And this is the age right now. I mean, we're in quarantine. There's a pandemic happening. And if you were going to pop anything off right now would be, if you were going to pop anything off, if you have anything swirling in your head, if you have a computer full of scripts, words, whatever, now would be the time to get it off and popping. Because if you can't get it popping now, I don't know what to tell you.
I don't know what to tell you either.
I don't know what to tell you.
I've had a pretty productive quarantine. I wrote a pilot. I wrote my second feature, so I'm feeling pretty good.
Oh, well, let's talk about Definition Please for a little bit. I love the fact that there's this young girl who won the spelling bee, and people were expecting great things out of her, and she ended up working with other students, right? And people were just clowning her. They were clowning her all the time. And if that wasn't bad enough, then her mom is faking stuff. Her brother's got mental issues. Like, I was like, am I watching some Black people? Is this a Black family? Because it was pure comedy. And I love the way that you took the words, you took the spelling out of certain words and you projected them on the screen. I also love how he had a nervous breakdown over him being called Sunshine when he was a little boy, and how that was like the impetus that kind of snapped him over the edge. I love that there was yoga involved. I love yoga. It's such a nice stress releaser, excuse me. I love how your mother in the film was like, don't say the F word. That girl, I could go on. It was just hilarious. And I love that in the process of all of this, she ends up finding love with a doctor. I'm like, you go, girl. So talk to me about where the impetus for this film came from and how much of it is close to you and how much of it is just your imagination run wild.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just say that it's not autobiographical, but it's very personal to me. There's definitely, I think with all of my projects, I start from something real or something small that has happened to me, and then I fictionalize the world from that one point forward. And I'm going to take it all the way back to fourth grade, where I was in a spelling bee and I won my school spelling bee, which is exciting, but like not really a big deal because there were only 10 people in my grade. So I won out of those 10 people. And then I went to regionals and I got out in the first round on the word radish. I spelled it with 2 D's instead of 1. And I tasted my first defeat. And I came back to my school and everyone clowned me for losing on a very easy word, it would seem. And you know what? I deserved it because, yes, it was a very easy word and I should have known how to spell that word. And then as I started, watching the national spelling bees on TV on ESPN, I was always really excited because it seemed like a South Asian American kid kept winning.
Right.
So even last year, there were 8 winners and 7 of the 8 were Indian American. And about 5 years ago, I was in a UCB sketch writing class. And so we were just assigned to write some 4-page sketches. And once again, I was fascinated with the spelling bee winners. And the theme of my sketch was, where are they now, spelling bee winners? And if you do some Googling, you can tell that the spelling bee winners have all gone on to do amazing, great things. They're scientists at NASA. They're on the professional poker circuit. They're making robots at, doing physicist type stuff. And I'm sure they're like looking for the COVID vaccine right now. So the punchline of the sketch was, oh, well, this spelling bee winner was a loser. Turned out to be a loser, lives at home, hasn't achieved anything. And then in mid 2017, I was inspired by my first time going to Sundance. I didn't have any films at the festival, but I was just going after I had done a Sundance screenwriting lab. And my friend Justin Chan had his film there, Gook.
Oh, I know Justin. I loved Gook. I've interviewed him. I love him.
He's one of our consulting producers.
I love him so much. I did see that.
Yeah, fabulous. And I watched the movie and I loved the movie. And then I talked to him afterwards. And I was like, how did you get this made? This is amazing. And he's like, girl, I just got my own money together. I asked my family, I asked my friends, and I just made it with their money. And I was like, wow, okay. And that's when I went back home and started writing the first feature length script version of Definition Please, based on that tiny 4-page sketch idea that I wrote at UCB. And I spent the rest of 2017 writing and rewriting the feature. And then in 2018, I slightly soft pitched it to production companies that I already have relationships with. And everybody loved the script, but it's one of those things where nobody really wants to put money into a family dramedy because they want to put money into Avengers. Yeah.
Wow. That's interesting.
It is really interesting. And even I don't even think it's an ethnic, because my film deals with a South Asian American family. I don't even think it was about that. It was not getting it greenlit at a production company. It was more about, they just felt nobody wanted to see these stories.
Who did you finally, so did you just produce it on your own?
Girl, I produced it on my own. I produced it on my own.
You're like, girl, I produced it on my own.
So I took 2018 and I was soft pitching. And then in early 2019, I went back to Sundance and Justin's second film was playing there, Ms. Purple. And I was like, okay, I have to make my movie this year. This is crazy. Justin has made 2 films in the time that I've written this film and tried to get it out. And then I had sold a couple television shows, so I used that money, and I was the first money into Definition Please, and it made it easier to get other investors on board.
Well, it was wonderful. I really enjoyed it. I did. I loved how you fleshed out the characters. I love the fact that you put mental illness at the forefront of it, because we don't see how somebody is diagnosed with that. We don't see how family supports them. We don't see how a family member says, hey, listen, I love you, but you really got to get this under control. And I personally resonated with it because I have a brother that is, he has ADHD. And so it would cause him to, for lack of a better way to say it, he would just pop off for no reason and go off on these tangents. And you would be standing there going, what are you talking about? So when I saw that, I was like, oh, this happens to other people. And I was glad that you put that in there. So thank you for that. Where can we find it?
So right now we are doing the film festival circuit. Like you said, you saw it at Bentonville Film Festival, and we got into a couple other film festivals that I can't announce right now. But it's really exciting because now people from festivals are starting to reach out to us because they said they heard about it at Bentonville, and it's exciting. And I've always loved the festival circuit, and it's a little bit disappointing because it's all virtual this year. But I obviously want everyone to be safe, and I'm myself am not trying to go into a movie theater anytime soon. So
absolutely, you got time. You young. You will be at a film festival and have your premiere and get all your flowers soon enough. Trust and believe that. It was a great film, and I love that did it premiere at Bentonville?
Yeah, it was our world premiere.
So having it premiere at a film festival that's curated and run by a woman, Gina Davis, is a really wonderful, strong start. So it's just gonna explode from here. And I was supposed to do a panel with you there, and there was some miscommunication, so I ended up not doing it. I was so bummed out. And when you reached out to me, you were like, so I'm like, yes, come on, girl, let's do this. So thank you for that. And let's just talk real quick before I let you go about these 3 seasons that you were on Insecure, because yet again, here's another strong woman who's doing things, Issa Rae, and it seems like everything she touches lately is going gold. She's producing a Black Lady sketch show with Robin Thede. They just got a bunch of Emmy nominations. Insecure got a bunch of Emmy nominations, and you worked as a recurring character on that show. Were you able to pick up any kernels or, observe anything from her that's helped you now in the course of those 3 years that you were on the show?
Yeah, of course. I don't know if you know, but I was also on Awkward Black Girl, and that was...
Yes, I did. I know you started there too. It's CC. Yes, I did know that.
Yeah, but it's been really exciting to have been on this journey with Issa from over 8 years ago, meeting her on Twitter, and then going the Awkward Black Girl route where there was really no budget for season 1, and she was putting it on our credit cards, and we were shooting it on the weekends, but because a lot of us had day jobs and regular jobs. And so going from a set like that, a web series set, to being on the set of an HBO pilot was really emotional for me. and also seeing so many women of color in powerful positions, from the director Melina Matsoukas down to, cinematographer and PAs, and just everywhere you turn, there were young women of color learning, but also experienced women of color. And it was such a beautiful utopia of a set. And I've definitely, my entire journey of Awkward Black Girl and Insecure has inspired my career, and obviously pushed me to make this film as well, and just produce it myself and do it on my own, and getting it out there regardless of whoever says yes or no. So she has been a huge inspiration and a great friend as well.
I love that. I love everything about that. I love that women of color are bonding and banding together in Hollywood to help each other succeed. It really warms my heart. And it makes me feel like, we're embarking upon a whole different type of women's movement, beyond the ERA now, beyond Me Too, beyond all of that, into a whole different movement in where women are becoming positive, influential forces in the entertainment industry behind the screen and in front of the screen. So I love everything about that. I'm not going to hold you anymore, sister, but I was so excited to be able to finally talk to you today. I'm sorry about the technical difficulties at the beginning of the interview, but I'm glad we finally worked it out. I kind of think it was on me. I'm not going to let you take responsibility for that. I would love to let you take responsibility for it, but I'm not going to let you take responsibility for that. I think it was kind of on me. But I thank you so much. And you are welcome to come and play with me here anytime, or we can go over to Instagram Live and do it, whatever. But the next project you have, or when this hits the theaters, please, please, please let me know. And I will support you as much as I possibly can. I promise you that.
I will definitely let you know. We are talking to buyers right now. So that news should be coming very soon where the public can be able to see it.
Cool. Let people know where they can find you on social media so they can support you in the film there too.
Sure. I'm at Sujata Day on all platforms, SUJATA-DAY, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and not TikTok. I'm not on TikTok. I don't know what to say about that.
Not either. So we'll just leave that alone. And does Definition Please have its own site?
Yes. Definition Please is Definition Please on Instagram and Facebook. And then on Twitter, it's Defin Please, DEFNPLEASE.
Cool. Thank you, Sujata. Have a good rest of your Sunday, and I'll be right over here supporting you from afar.
Thank you so much, Carla. This was awesome.
All right, baby. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Oh my goodness, I love talking to her. She is literally a ray of sunshine, and I want to give a big shout out to all of her fans and supporters. They were blowing up the show all day long on social media to make sure that people knew that she was going to be here to be able to tune into the conversation. So thank you, Sujata. I appreciate you so incredibly much. Now, let's get into the next thing that I wanted to talk to y'all about. It is, as soon as my thing stops spinning, I can tell you what it is. But there's a plethora of reviews that I have to get to, and I'm going to try to hit it fast and furious because I don't want to hold y'all. The first one is Bill and Ted Face the Music. So, this is a 90s, I want to say 80s, 90s franchise that is very beloved. People love them some Bill and Ted, honey. And it stars Keanu Reeves and Alex. And this is the thing. If you want to get your little giggle on for a few seconds, the film is corny. It is so corny. It's corny, good fun. But this is the thing. It is, and it stays true to the franchise itself. It actually stays true to the franchise itself. But this is the thing. It is a little slow. It comes equipped with princess wives and daughters that are trying to save their dads as they're time traveling, and the wild stallions who are Alex and Keanu, they're trying to save the world through music, and they have to do it by 7:17 p.m., which is hilarious to me that it's not 7 o'clock, it's not noon, it's 7:17 p.m. But it's produced by Orion Pictures, and it was written and executive produced by the same people who did the original franchise and every other franchise since. But for me, y'all, it was okay. It was okay. And like I said, if you just want to get your giggle on and have a nice little tee-hee, it's great for that. But other than that, I don't know. I don't know if I would tell you to see it or not. But what I will tell you is that it is fun. You will laugh, and it is corny, and you will tap out for a minute. But honey, Miss Holland Taylor, that's in it. Y'all know her from a plethora of different films. She will make you holla out loud because she is pure comedy. So it's already streaming and in theaters. It's called Bill and Ted 3 Face the Music. Now there's a film that's coming out on September 11th. It's called I Am Woman, and I saw it at the Toronto International Film Festival. It is directed by Jun Moon, and it's produced by Goalpost Pictures and Quiver. And it stars, who does it star? It stars Tilda Cobham Hervey, and she plays the title role of Helen Reddy. So for those of you who don't know who Helen Reddy is, Helen Reddy penned a song called I Am Woman. And that song, I Am Woman, was used as the anthem during the ERA Now movement, that women's movement, that was grossly shunned by Phyllis Schlafly. Now, if you don't know who Phyllis Schlafly is the character at the forefront of the FX miniseries Miss America that is streaming right now. But I Am Woman is coming into theaters on September 11th, and it is dealing with the life and the career of Helen Reddy. Now, I was a big Helen Reddy fan back in the day, and I love that little song, I Am Woman, Hear Me Roar, all of that. But what I didn't know about her is that she had some issues, you know, like most recording artists do in the music industry. They all have issues. And this is the thing. I find it very interesting that in 1 year we have two films that have come out regarding women in the industry. One is a fictional character that Tracee Ellis Ross played in High Note, but Helen Reddy is a real character. And whether it was a real character or not, women in the music industry face a lot of adversity. They face adversity from the fans. They face adversity from the music executives. They face adversity from the music producers. It's just a hard way to go for them because they're not taken seriously as artists. So that part is kind of like, oh, I wish that people took them a little more seriously. But Helen Reddy's life is chronicled in this film, I Am Woman. Is dealing with the origins of the women's movement. It's dealing with her life and career, like I said. And it's a typical biopic. So there's some cliche things that are happening in it, but it is beautifully shot, beautifully and gorgeously shot. And it reminds me of a time where, in America where a generation of women in America or anywhere in the world, that you were frowned upon. You were frowned upon just for being a woman. They didn't want you to work. They didn't want you to have equal pay. They thought that you should have been with an apron and a baby on your hip, cooking and cleaning. And we as women are so much more than that. So Helen Reddy's song empowered a lot of people, and it inspired a lot of people, and it was used as the anthem song during the ERA Now movement. And, you know, I just want to thank Miss Helen Reddy for reminding us that we are strong, we are invincible, we are women, honey. So check that out on September 11th when it hits a theater near you. It is called I Am Woman. It is directed by Jun Moon, and it is produced by Goalpost Pictures and Quiver. I will have interviews with everybody next week, so I'll talk about it again at that time. Now let's talk about some Mulan. Now, y'all, Mulan has been pushed back. It's been postponed. There's been all kinds of plethora of things that have happened with Mulan. But Mulan is produced by Disney Plus, and it is directed by Nikki Caro, and it stars Yifei Liu in the title role of Mulan. Now, just to give you some context, it's an epic tale of a legendary warrior who risked everything for love of her family and her country to become one of the greatest warriors in China. When I tell you Yifei Liu is killing it in Mulan, Yifei Liu is killing it in Mulan. She's letting us have it. It is beautifully shot, gorgeously shot. Nikki Caro did her thing. The story, the thing about Mulan is that Mulan's story is inspirational for the simple fact that it revolves around a young woman who is a warrior, who is a daughter, who will do anything to protect her family, anything to protect her father, anything to protect her beloved China. And it kind of reminded me, it was like, let me fix this a little bit. It was like if you took Yentl and put it in China, that's what Mulan is. But it's so much more than that. That's just me giving, you know, a little analogy of it, but it was so much more than that. It's this Mulan has courage. She's resilient. She's proving that she has love of herself, as in addition to the love of the other people that she has. The fight scenes are epic, epic, epic. They were so good. There were a couple of times where I literally held my breath. Now, I saw it back in March, right before the pandemic hit, and there was a press conference that was held at the Directors Guild of America in Hollywood, and Nikki Caro and Janelle Riley was the moderator, and Ife was there. And there were a bunch of questions. I will put that information up in a post on the curvyfilmcritic.com. You'll see that in a couple of days, and you can go there and watch that. But as well as the review of Mulan that I'm going to put up. But when I tell you, it was everything, and I enjoyed it. And it features a plethora of high class, majorly talented Asian actors. And it was just nice to see a movie with all Asian actors that are strong, that are fierce, that are formidable, and they are just killing it. Now, I know that there's something that a lot of people do not share my sentiments about Mulan, but I think I have a unique perspective on it because I'm a girl. And when I was a girl, I would have loved to have seen Mulan as a little girl. I would have loved to have seen a Black Panther when I was a little kid. So I will always champion films that are films that will help a whole different generation have a completely different outlook and perspective on life and in terms of self-confidence. Because Mulan is also struggling with self-confidence. She literally has to pretend to be a boy, and that's really hard to do. Again, you guys, Mulan hits theaters on September 4th. It's going to be on Disney Plus. If you don't have a Disney Plus account, you can apply for a premier Disney Plus account, and that will help you gain access to it streaming wise. I'm not sure if they're putting it in theaters, but if they're not, get that premier account on Disney Plus and watch it there. All right. So now my boy Brandon, he can't wait. He's been talking about Phineas and Ferb, Candace Saves the Universe. Well, here we go, Brandon. We are about to talk about Phineas and Ferb. It's executive produced by Dan Povenmire and Jeff Marsh, the creators and executive producers of the Emmy Award-winning series Phineas and Ferb. Now, this movie has Phineas and Ferb trying to save their sister Candace, who has been beamed up to another universe where she is deemed the one, and she's supposed to save the universe. It turns out not to be what she thought, and there's shenanigans that ensue, but it's hilarious. And I loved it. I loved it so very much. It's an animated musical. I love Candace singing her little song at the beginning on her bike, and there's like a whole little musical number. I love the robot that was juggling kids. I loved that Candace is obsessed with busting her brothers. They get on her last nerve. So if anybody has a sibling, a brother or sister that you're just like, I'm going to get them in trouble one good time because they're getting on my nerves. That's what Candace is. And she does it, and she does it hilariously. She's considered the chosen one. And what she discovers in this, the takeaway for this film is that when you're siblings, yes, you're going to fight. Yes, they're going to get on your nerves. Yes, you might not want to be bothered with them. Yes, you might want to, throw them under the bus with your mother and father. But at the end of the day, love always wins. It always prevails. This was a lot of fun, y'all. I had never seen the cartoon when it was on television, Phineas and Ferb. My entree into the Phineas and Ferb world was through this film, and I'm grateful for it. It was a lot of fun. It began streaming on August 28th, and you can find it on Disney Plus right now. I know, Michael B., you're saying you don't know if you want to pay $30 for Disney Plus Premiere to watch Mulan. I know that's a lot of money. It is. But for people that are at home and quarantine at home that have a bunch of kids in the house or a significant other, think about how much money you would be paying if you went to the theater for real. You got to put gas money in the car. You got to pay for parking. You got to pay for the movie. You got to pay for snacks. If you think about it from that perspective, it ends up being a whole lot more than $30. Just saying. I would pay for Mulan because I just love Mulan. Oh, and you guys, there are lots of different featurettes, and Christina Aguilera contributed another song in addition to her famous song that she did before. So that's it. Phineas and Ferb, August 28th, it started streaming. It's there now. Mulan will start streaming on September 4th on Disney Plus Premiere. Now, let me tell you about this movie called Boys State that I saw, because it was hilarious in a different kind of way. So Boys State is this film. It's like a political coming of age story. These little boys ended up going to like an American Legion camp for the summer to learn how to campaign politically. And there were all different kids. Most of them were little white kids, but there was one Mexican kid and there was one black kid. And the black kid's name was Renee. The little Mexican kid's name was Stephen, and they centered the story around Stephen, Ben, Robert, and Renee. And instead of having a Democratic Party and a Republican Party, they have the Nationalists and the Federalists. The Federalists are the Republicans, and the Nationalists are the Democrats. This was a film that shows you how important it is when we have an election, and how important a vote is, and how it matters. The American Legion had former members like Dick Cheney, Bill Clinton, Cory Booker. All of these people came out of these American Legion summer camps, and they are very well-known, very well-respected politicians to this day. It also shows you how a division can be made within the party and between the parties. And it gives an insight into how and why some politicians get into office and why some politicians lose. So it's streaming right now on Apple TV Plus. You'll love it. It's a documentary. It's not a feature film. It is a documentary, and you will love it. Let me tell you about one other film that I skipped over at the beginning because I wanted to save the best for last. So it's a film called, it's either Fatima or Fatima, but I'm going to say Fatima. I'm going to say Fatima. I forget. But anyway, it's directed and it's written by Marco Pontecorvo. And it's dealing with this young woman named Lucia who sees a revelation of the Virgin Mary. And the Virgin Mary basically tells her it's up to you to try to get people to believe and act right, or, there's going to be some shenanigans happening. And this was something that happened for real in 1917, right before the influenza pandemic of 1918. It's based on a true story. And what happened was Lucia had because word started to get around that she saw the Virgin Mary, about 70,000 people, believers and non-believers, witnessed this phenomenon, and they called it the miracle of the sun. So when the Virgin Mary actually came to see Lucia, she would communicate back to the crowd and everything. But the thing about this movie that struck me to my core is that whenever something like that happens, whenever someone says they see an apparition of a religious person, they're never believed. And it just goes to show you how and why someone is believed or why they're not believed, and how we're living in the same times. This situation happened before the influenza pandemic, right? We are in a pandemic right now. Right before that, they had this apparition that happened with the sun. I don't know, but we may be seeing something like that again. But it's going to make you think. It's definitely going to make you think. It's produced by Origin Entertainment and Picture House. It tells you about, there's two ways to live your life, right? There's one as though nothing is a miracle, and the other way is though everything is a miracle. And that's a quote from Albert Einstein that starts out the film. And that is the best way to describe it. It is a film about miracles and what can happen when you believe in miracles and what happens when you don't. I just wanted to tell you that Lucia, her real name is Lucia de Jesus. She ended up committing her life religiously. She entered the Carmel of St. Teresa in 1948, where she died there in 1997 she died there at the age of 97 in 2005. And her process for canonization was opened in 2008. The film is a little slow, but it has a really strong message, and I highly suggest that y'all check it out. All right, so again, the films that I talked about, I'm just going to recap. You can see Mulan on September 4th. Boys State is streaming right now on Apple TV Plus. I Am Woman is coming to theaters on September 11th. Sujata J's film, Definition Please, is doing the film festival circuit, so be on the lookout for that. Bill and Ted 3 is streaming right now via Orion Pictures, and I believe it is in some theaters. And Phineas and Ferb, Candace Saves the Universe, is now streaming on Disney Plus. So that is going to do it, you guys, for me with this version of the Curvy Critic with Carla Renata. Let me just hop over to the chat room real quick and see what y'all talking about. Brandon, I'm glad that you loved it. And I know that you love the original Mulan, so you're going to watch this one. And Michael B is like, I love the original too, but it's still $30. I feel you on that one. Everything ain't for everybody. But when I come back next week, y'all, I'm going to have some interviews with the filmmakers and the cast of I Am Woman. I'm going to have an interview with Storm Over Brooklyn, which is a documentary on HBO dealing with the shooting and murdering of Yusef Hawkins. Before there was a George Floyd and a Breonna Taylor, there was a Yusef Hawkins in New York City. So, and the Toronto International Film Festival is starting. So I will give you a sneak peek and preview into that because I did get a chance to see a couple of the films and talk to a few people from those films. So I'll give you a little sneak peek of that. But until then, this is your girl, Carla Renata, aka the Curvy Film Critic. You can find me across all social media platforms at the Curvy Critic. You can see the written reviews at thecurvyfilmcritic.com. You can catch me moderating and showing up online all over the place. But until then, give me a thumbs up to let me know you were here. For my friends on Facebook Live, thank you for joining me. For those of you on LinkedIn that are joining me, thank you, thank you, thank you. Hope you come back again. And for those of you on YouTube and my fans, Brandon and Michael B, thank you for hanging in there with a sister and for always supporting me. And a big shout out to the fact that I didn't have to produce the show by myself today. My girl Mac is doing it for me. Thank you, Mac. Snap, snap, snaps up to you. All right, y'all. So until the next time, this is your girl, Carla Renata, aka the Curvy Film Critic. Love, peace, and hair grease.